this is the topic we wanted to talk about today. It's the shortest ever members lesson because it's only 2 words and they're actually in the title of the thread. And 4 Low Drive has done this. And the tip is record yourself. And, yeah, it's just one of those things that like regularly recording yourself and listening back has just been so powerful in what I do. And because we film ourselves all the time doing video lessons, I found I've got so much from that process in identifying problems that I just wouldn't have been able to do when I was doing freelance work full time, when I was constantly just playing and not ever stopping to assess. But, you know, I just find that like it, especially in terms of things like rhythm, you really can't, until you listen back to yourself and really, you know, you have to be separate from actually doing it. And particularly with it being so easy with cameras and things now, just on your phone.
Yeah, yeah.
It's been such a powerful thing. So is it something that you've done much of, Scott?
Yeah, well, obviously I feel like, I've filmed a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean.
But in terms of like recording yourself, it's so important to do this because I know that every person watching this will be able to identify with what I'm about to say. Can you remember the first time you heard yourself speak on
a recorded device? Yeah,
remember that?
I sound like
and you were like,
it's awful,
that sounds awful.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it's like when you listen to yourself playing bass. Yeah. You know, it's really it's a painful process because what you hear is, you know, a lot of the time actually it's not what's going on. There's something else going on. It's very like when you speak. You hear what you want to hear. You don't. you
definitely hear what you want to hear, Scott.
Yeah.
Hey, Scott, can you help me out with this? Yeah, sure, Jeff. No problem. See you later. It's just I'm locked out my car. Bye.
Yeah. So I really do recommend that you record yourself. As Jeff said, you know, you can do it on your phone now. On your iPhone, you can have like little voice recorder on there or memo recorder. Like back in the day, I used to record myself on this. It's like made out of wood. You used to wind it up. No, you didn't. Yeah. But it was like, you know, like a little dictaphone type thing with tiny mini cassettes.
Yeah, mini discs and things.
No, it'd be like these mini cassettes.
Like a proper old-fashioned
dictaphone. Like I had a little dictaphone, and I used to record myself. And I used to specifically record myself doing exercises. So I put a backing track on and then I'd play over the backing track. So it might be, you know, like playing over a D minor groove or something like that. I'll put the dictaphone on and I'd sit there and I'd try and create a D minor groove over it. And then I'd try and solo over it. And then I'd listen back and it's just that there's no hiding from it. It's what you hear is, you know, what you've just played. And it was really the guy that really pushed me to do it was Gary Willis actually said, start recording yourself for exactly the same reasons that I've just told you guys. Is because what you think you're hearing is actually not what's going on. It's sometimes, now don't get me wrong. Once you do it a lot, you just kind of get used to it. And I think you do start hearing what's going on. For instance, now when I hear my voice on video and stuff like that, it sounds like me. Because there is this...
Actually, it doesn't sound as bad as it used to, does it? I mean, I couldn't believe it when I heard what an absolute idiot I sounded like on video. But now, you know.
Yeah, and filming yourself as well, if you want to do that, that's good because you can see what your technique's doing. But I think sometimes recording yourself is really great because it's like albums. Like I'm old school. I really enjoy listening to albums much more than watching like a live. You know, I'd rather listen to the live album than watch the live concert because when I'm watching the live concert, there's so many more so much more sensory information coming in that, you know, it's almost like I'm looking at things. Oh, what drums is it? You know, what the keys play? Oh, I recognize that keys player, blah, blah, blah. When you're listening to something, it's purely, you've only got, what are you talking about?
I'm thinking about when I went to see a band, I went to see Radiohead with a friend of ours, Gaz Parry, who's a great guitar player, and he can be a bit grumpy sometimes. And we were at this gig, and it was amazing, Radiohead outdoors in Manchester, and there was this really tall guy in front of Gav, and he just went like this with his pint, and just poured it directly into Gav's face. And it was so awkward because none of us could move because we were so close. And he just turned around to us and goes, "What's happening? I don't understand what's just happened." And this man's just pouring a bit. And the guy's sort of, you know, the guy's completely happy. He's like, "Yeah, sorry, man," you know. And Gav's just like, and you can imagine what it was like. He gets a bit grumpy sometimes anyway.
I don't know what this has got to do with recording yourself.
No, we're talking about live gigs. You were saying about...
I was about watching on YouTube, but not having pints poured down.
Oh, sorry, mate. There was nothing to do about YouTube. Just edit all of that out. Just edit me out completely.
Keep it in. So...
What's happening to me?
So that's why you should record yourself. And record yourself make it just part of your practice time. Make sure that you're practicing, or practice something, and then make sure at the end of that particular section, if you're practicing technique or something like that, record yourself. Like personally, I think that like technique exercises and stuff like that, even though like I've scheduled like a ton of technique exercises, it's not really that I'm listening for and I'm recording. I'm listening for like groove creation and nuance in your playing. It's nuance. I think we had Phil Mann and I. Phil Mann's doing a course, by the way. We should probably talk about that at some point for the Academy. It's coming out in like 2 weeks' time. Did we talk about that last week?
Yes.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Oh, so heads up, guys. In like a couple of weeks' time, Phil Mann's releasing a course into the Academy, and you're going to have full access to it. It's very good. He even gets me on it and destroys me. Does he? Yeah, oh yeah. He like starts getting me doing some.
Does he hurt you?
Time. He does. Yeah, he hurts me. Yeah, gives me a slapping.
Good.
But
he's all man.
It's all man. Phil Mann is all man. Yeah. But but recording yourself is like it's super super important because it gives you a true representation of what you sound like, and then gives you you can. And the great thing, what I loved to do when I was recording myself, is listen back like a month. Because you've really got no frame of reference, right? You're practicing, you're shedding, you're doing your 5 hours a week or your 5 hours a day or however many hours you're practicing, right? Yeah. And you've got sort of like, you're at the coal face and sometimes it feels like crap and you're not motivated to do it, but you want to get to, you get your game to that next level. Well, what can you listen back to sort of like for reference of if you've made any, progress. And when I was recording myself, I found it really, really motivating really, really motivating to listen back sort of like a month, 2 months, 3 months. I've still got recordings that I did that I've had. When did I study with Gary Willits? That's like years ago. I don't even sound like that anymore. That's bizarre.
I found a bag of cassette tapes. And I've been moving house recently. And
is this to do with what we're talking about? Is this another random story? You carry on, Jeff.
So there was this.
So we're at a gig. The 2015 Kickstarter challenge.
Hey everybody.
Hey everybody.
Hi everybody.
Hello all. Hello.